Hello friends, how are you? This is Dr. Nagi, Ayurveda and Medicine doctor and also Isha Hatha Yoga teacher. So today in this video I am going to talk about nerve weakness. As we know, nerve weakness is not something new, and these days this terminology is very common. But the problem is how we can recognize that whether our nerves are weak or not. As we know, our whole body is a web of nerves. Have you ever noticed, like whenever we have pain in any part of our body, we in our experience is only like pain here, somewhere. But actually inside the body, these nerves which are connected to the painful part take the message from the painful part and take it to your spine or your brain. And this is how we recognize like we have pain in this part. So actually our body has such a fine chemistry and such a fine technology which is beyond our imaginations. The important point about nerve weakness is most of us ignore it, because even when our nerves are weak, they are working well. It is not like some kind of infection that suddenly it happens. The thing that we should know about nerves is nerve weakness will start very slowly and progresses very slowly. So many times this happens that most of us are unable to recognize it. So let's see what are the very common signs and symptoms that we feel, and if we recognize it, we can avoid the chronic ailments like paralysis, like SLE, or any kind of motor neuron disease, or as many times half body paralysis, and many kind of these things. All these things happens because of nerve weakness. These are the early diagnostic signs with which we diagnose a disease before it actually happens. So if we know these pre-diagnostic signs and symptoms, we can avoid the upcoming disease. How? By changing our lifestyle, diet, taking certain supplements, certain rasayanas, certain nerve boosters, and this way our nerves can become more and more healthy. So let's talk about what are the early diagnostic signs, what are the early pre-diagnostic signs regarding nerve weakness. So first and very common thing which we have seen in many patients, that is like numbness. In one part of your body it feels numb for no reasons, like you are working well, you are doing your work on the office, you are talking to someone, you are picking a teacup or something, and something happened, like suddenly hand became numb. And it happens episodically, very commonly it happens once in 2-3 days. So this is a very important sign that you should not ignore, that maybe it is because of nerve weakness. Next most common pre-diagnostic sign is tremor. Like you will notice like you are not doing anything, but your little finger is into tremor. You don't have hypertension, you don't have thyroid problems, because tremors also happen in hyperthyroidism many times, and in many times in hypertension patients, that is high blood pressure. But you don't have any disease, neither thyroid, neither hypertension, but sometimes just hand has little bit of tremors. This also represents nerve weakness. So if this happens to you very often, it's better that you start avoiding all those things which are the cause for these tremors. We will discuss all these things in next part of the video, but for now I am just telling the sign and symptoms which you need to pay attention. Sometimes very excessive pain happen in your arm for no reasons, like suddenly it started and suddenly it vanishes. If this is happening, this is also a early diagnostic sign that maybe your nerves are getting weaker. If you are feeling muscle weakness for certain reasons, like muscles, you see like muscles are very energyless, they don't have any energy, and for no reason the muscle mass is going down, then maybe it is because of nerve weakness. In addition to that, many times, as you know, like our tongue, taste of tongue, that is also the work of nerves. Sense of smell, that is also done by olfactory nerves, that is also one kind of nerve. Ear, hearing, that is also the work of nerves, how we hear. The sense of touch, the how you touch someone, you know, sometimes in some parts of the body, if you touch, you can't feel the touch. This is very common thing which is present in many people, because it is not because this symptom is not present in whole body, but especially in the lower part of your legs, sometimes this happen. If you are touching, you don't feel the touch. This is also happens when you have weak nerves. In addition to that, there are very common other diseases like dementia, like forgetting very often very common things, forgetting what you have done 1 hour before, forgetting the name of some person. Very commonly it happens these days to everyone actually, because we are living in such an environment, like these forgetfulness is very common. Sometimes we have a lot of confusion in small things like how to light a lamp. So these kind of things are also represents nerve weakness. If any of these signs and symptoms are happening with you, I think it is time that you pay attention to the health of your nerves. In addition to that, very common point where we need to pay attention, like cold feet. If you have very often cold feet and cold hands, this also maybe, not always, but maybe sometimes because of nerve weakness. Now let's see what Ayurveda has to say about it, why this nerve weakness happen. According to Ayurveda, nerves are governed by Vata dosh. That means, as you know, impulse travels in nerves, like how we get to know things, like if I touch my hand with my another hand, how I get to know like I am touching it. One thing is, when I am touching it, here neurons are present, that is the nerve endings of the nerves. They are taking message, they are taking that message to the spine, and from spine to my brain is calculating, and this is giving me sense like something is touching my hand. So this is how the work of nerve happens. According to Ayurveda, any kind of movement, whatever movement has happening in your body, it happens because of Vata dosh. According to Ayurveda, Vata dosh is responsible for all kind of movements that are happening in your body. Also, if at some area pain happens, that also represents the aggravation of Vata dosh in your body. So whenever your nerves start getting weak, that also happens because of aggravated Vata dosh in your system. So whenever we have Vata dosh imbalance, these kind of signs and symptoms which I have mentioned earlier, they are very commonly visible. So if you are also feeling these kind of things in your system, then it is high time that you start paying attention to your diet and avoid all the foods that is Vata aggravating. Regarding Vata dosh, I already have created many videos. You please go through my channel and see all the Vata dosh videos and digestive fire videos. That would be great help for you. What fruits to eat, what food to eat, everything for balancing Vata dosha I have created. So you can go through my channel and watch these videos. These videos will be helpful. In addition to that, what are the very commonly used things which are responsible for aggravating Vata is crispy things, anything fried, that aggravates your Vata dosh. Or if your food is very dry, like very dry food if you are eating, if your food doesn't contain any liquid, that is also aggravating Vata dosha. Once in a while, sometimes if you are taking this kind of food, it's fine. But if you are making it habit, like daily if you are eating dry fruit, daily you are eating oats, and you are not taking any liquid lentil or any liquid diet, then that is responsible for enhancing the Vata dosh in your body. In addition to that, the most common mistake that we all do, that is eating cold food. If we are eating cold food for some reasons, that is the main reason for aggravating your Vata dosha. As we know, these days refrigerators are in every house, and we are keeping our food in refrigerator and using it for 2-3 days. So this kind of food definitely aggravates Vata, and it imbalances Vata, and that is responsible for your nerve weakness. So always try to cook your food fresh, try to consume it within 3 hours of cooking, so that it will nourish your nerves, it will nourish your system, and it will not make your Vata imbalanced. In addition to that, many times this happens, people have a habit of drinking cold water from refrigerator. This kind of water is also not good for Vata health. This kind of water is also not good for nerves. Always try to boil water, put it at room temperature and then drink it. Please try to avoid all kind of waters from refrigerator. They are very cold in temperature, and this kind of temperature is not good for the health of your nerves. In addition to that, all the hard drinks and all the soft drinks that are chemically synthesized, this kind of food and these kind of drinks are not good for your nerves, and they cause Vata imbalance. In addition to that, all the canned food, tinned food and all the packet food that also aggravate your Vata dosh, and which leads to Vata imbalance and ultimately nerve weakness. Also, if you feel these kind of signs and symptoms which I have mentioned earlier, please try to avoid food from microwave and preheated food. Try to always have freshly cooked food. Have a big bowl of fruits in the morning, then salads, then sprouts, then anything cooked. And in the evening also have little bit of sprouts, salads and cooked food. Don't take very heavy diets in the evening. Try to have your dinners early by 7 or 8 o'clock. Try to eat vegetables in your dinner so that you will have good sleep, and in your sleep self-healing will happen naturally. These days in markets a lot of food with fertilizers and pesticides is available. So try to, if possible, try to get organic food from farmers, or you grow your own from your kitchen garden. Try to have this kind of food, because this kind of food will be more Vata balancing. And if you are using food which contains a lot of insecticides, fertilizers, pesticides, it causes Vata imbalance, and ultimately it also causes nerve weakness. In addition to that, you can also have dry fruits. What is the way to eat dry fruits? Like, you need to soak them overnight and then you can have it. In the morning also you can have raisins empty stomach if you want. And regarding raisins and dry fruits, I already have created a video. Search these two videos, and how to eat nuts, how to soak them, how it's beneficial. A lot of detail I have mentioned in these videos. Please make use of it. In addition to that, what are the other extrinsic factors which are responsible for aggravating Vata is excessive thinking. These days, as you know, this era is of internet, and all the time pictures are going around in front of our eyes very quickly. And this is also responsible for aggravation of Vata, because a lot of movement is happening, and as I mentioned, whatever movement is happening in our body, it will impact your Vata dosha, or all the movements that are happening in our body are impacted by Vata dosha. So it's very, very important that take some time off, sit in meditation. Especially these days, meditation has become very important, because the only way to connect to the world is online. It is very important that you pay attention to yourself, try meditation, try yoga, because sitting in meditation also releases stress, releases anxiety, and ultimately it helps in balancing Vata. In addition to that, there are various rasayanas in Ayurveda, but that can be taken only after consultation with the proper Ayurveda doctor, qualified Ayurveda doctor who has proper license, who can practice these natural rasayans or medicines with patients. Government allows them. Only to that Ayurveda doctor you should consult, or some Ayurveda hospital, so that you will get proper diagnosis and proper treatment. In addition to that, try to keep yourself happy, try to think more and more positive thoughts, because already there is a lot of negativity around us. Try to avoid old food that has been made 3-4 days back. In addition to that, also try to avoid coffee, tea, caffeine and alcohol. All these things are not so good for the health of your nerves. As you know, coffee, tea, they cause a lot of imbalance in Vata dosh, which ultimately will weaken your nerves. So try to have organic food, try to have cooked food, boiled food, steamed food. All these foods are good for health, but make sure they should be of organic origin, so that it will not impact your Vata dosh, and ultimately your nerves will start gaining their strength back. In addition to that, try to practice yoga practices, Surya Namaskar, Surya Kriya, Surya Shakti, asanas, all these practices and even Upa Yoga is very beneficial for the health of your nerves. So you can also choose to have classical Isha Hatha Yoga, that is also very beneficial for the health of your nerves. And for some reasons, if you are connected with some other schools of yoga, you can learn Surya Namaskar, that is very beneficial. You can learn asanas that are very beneficial, but please make sure you learn all these things from right source so that they will yield benefits to you. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and if you have any question, please write down your questions in the comment section. I will try to answer your questions in the best possible way. Also, if you are watching me for the first time, there is a bell icon, there is a subscription button. Click the bell icon, hit the subscription button so that you stay in tune with our upcoming videos. Also, if you would like to support us, there is a join button near subscription button. You can click this join button and you can support us. Also, if you want Ayurveda consultation with me, you can write a mail to me on the given email address and we can discuss your problems. Then accordingly we can schedule consultation for you. So that's all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and with this note I would like to say stay healthy, stay blessed, take care. Bye.